You see, kids, back in 2017 when I was in college, it was generally accepted that anime was stupid and cringe, and the people who liked it were weirdos. Unlike nowadays, you couldn't just speak publicly like on the playground or at work about the cute robot show on Netflix. You would get stoned. I didn't want people to know that I'd watched a few of them and that I enjoyed them. It was just a few times, okay? It's not like I like them or I think they're cool or anything. Then I watched Cowboy Bebop. Something just snapped. Something inside of me. I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about being seen as cringe. I didn't care about being a weeb. I didn't care if I lived. I wasn't ashamed to throw this into conversations with people that I knew in real life, like young ladies. Albert, what's Cowboy Bebop? Well, thanks for asking. Let me tell you, partner. Cowboy Bebop is what I would call avant-garde. It is a cool show for sad and sophisticated people. I keep trying to tell my dad this because he likes westerns, but he won't listen. I don't want to watch your Japanese cartoon. It's like, Dad, it's more than that. It's art. It's so cool that it has its own genre, but the director, Junichiro Watanabe, didn't actually say what the genre was, so I'm gonna make one up for him. It's inspired by spaghetti westerns. Despite depicting the frontiers of the American West, they were filmed in Italy. I'm gonna call Cowboy Bebop a ramen western, or as one might say, a genre unto itself. Thank you. There are two main characters in this show, Spike Spiegel and Jet Black. Spike is the coolest. He is a space cowboy. He smokes, which is bad, but if it wasn't bad for you, I would totally be leaning on buildings, just puffing one out, man. It's freaking sick. Him and his nemesis Sephiroth were stuck in this love triangle with this girl named Julia. They always act cool, but they're really just simps. Jet is a tough guy, former detective, who is now a cynical bounty hunter because he was betrayed a lot. But deep down inside, he also has a soft side. He's kind of just a dad. The two of them fly around on their spaceship called the Bebop. They fly around collecting orphans. They meet Faye, who's a I'm born in the wrong generation girl, but like for real. Edward is a mentally deranged child that they peel off the street, and after she hacks them, they're pretty impressed, so they give her a job. They also let her sleep in the walls of their ship. Ein is a dog with a human brain. He's probably the smartest character in the show, honestly. I related to all of these characters when I watched the show because, you know, I'm mysterious, I'm emotionally tragic, I'm a cowboy baby. Let's not ignore the emotionally tragic thing I just threw in there. All these people are severely traumatized. They're all friends, but they treat each other like garbage. They're not exactly the most stable people. And speaking of instability, the show doesn't have a linear story structure. It's episodic. Most of the episodes are entirely different stories, but in the background there's this bigger narrative that's slowly progressing. And so it gets kind of crazy. This parallels the zany and random nature of the emotionally unstable people. And also bebop jazz. It's like they planned that. Bebop doesn't really have a set structure. It's like a fast-paced version of jazz. Like, as it's going, like people come in, different instruments, and they improvise and they throw in what they want, and it's crazy and chaotic and fast, but by the end, it's a nice song. In the show, people come and go, wacky events like explode out of nowhere. A lot of them are references to earlier like American media. The first episode is a reference to Desperado, which I never watched. There's one with a super killer child man, and then there's one with a super killer man child. I don't know what that's a reference to. There's one episode where rotten food in the fridge turns into like this alien monster that like they hunt around the ship and it terrorizes them. That's a reference to the classic American game Among Us. There's one where they take psychedelics. That's the Joe Rogan podcast reference. There's one episode where Spike meets his doppelganger Andy, and this is a reference to the American film Toy Story with Andy and Woody the cowboy. Spike is based on Bruce Lee. In one of the episodes, Spike gets beat up by Ein's dad, who's a more tough and experienced older guy, and that's a reference to the 2019 film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There's an episode with space truckers. Truckers are American. There's another one where a cult leader traps everyone in the cyber world, which is a reference to the American guy, Mark Zuckerberg in the metaverse. There's also an hour-and-a-half Halloween episode that's pretty cool. dude. People are gonna get so mad at me. In my favorite 2 episodes, a guy turns into a lady, and then his corpse is jettisoned into the atmosphere of one of Jupiter's moons. All jokes aside, that one's really sad, and it screwed me up for a while after. It's called Jupiter Jazz. Jazz, 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 jazz. Themes that are explored in the episodes of the show are nature versus technology, memory and how it shapes who we are, spiritualism in an era of heightened industrialization, traumatized cool guys, flying around in spaceships, and Sephiroth. Wait, this is just Final Fantasy VII. One episode you'll be dancing and hooting and hollering. The next you'll be scratching your head in confusion because you don't really get what's happening because you're stupid. And then the next you'll be depressed and rethinking your life. After most episodes, I sat there staring at the TV like bug-eyed, thinking about why I should probably just try to fix my brain because something's going on in there. It's not good. Like I said, I watched all of this when I was a stupid freshman in college. And if you haven't gotten there yet, this is a time in your life where your actions actually start to have consequences and you have to start looking at your life like an adult. It's not like the glorified daycare center that's high school, even though I guess college is kind of becoming that too. Walking around saying, whatever happens, happens. Like a rootin', tootin', shootin' cowboy. It wasn't working anymore. And I realized this because, like I said earlier, all the characters are depressed and their lives kind of suck. Everywhere you go in this show, people they're just stuck in the past and they're suffering because of something that's out of their control and it's already happened. I realized that I was doing this too, and I think a lot of other people do it, even if they don't want to admit it. And maybe you're not like that. Good job. I hope you're happy that you're better than us. But for the rest of us, it's not like that. And I don't know what you're hung up on, whether it's a guy or a girl, like a betrayal or some deeply rooted like childhood trauma that you have to dig up, or a Happy Meal with all 3 of those in it and then with the added toy of self-destructive behavior that just perpetuates the cycle forever. Whatever it is, you can get through it. All you have to do is eat the Happy Meal and the toy. I get it, it sucks. You know, I've been there. Yeah, come on, I make fun of Sims, but I never said I wasn't one. But it's all over, man. Those people weren't good to you then. They won't be good to you either in the future. If they come back, and let's be honest, they're not coming back. Some of the characters in the show realize this. Like Faye, she's all like messed up at the end, but at least she admits like that she doesn't want Spike to leave, that they're like friends. And then there's characters like Gren and Spike who don't get over it. Spike is a literally me guy, like literally. He pretends like he doesn't care about anything and he walks around all carefree. At the same time, he's chasing the image of this girl in his head. It's controlling him. And then when she dies, what he decides to do is just go slaughter all of his ex-coworkers in a violent rage. And Gren and Spike, they tragically die. Allegedly, the last shot is like Spike's face and he's like, you don't know if he dies. Looked like he died though. I studied psychology, so I'm gonna share 3 scientific psychological reasons why people get hung up on the past. The first is being scared to admit that you're stuck in the past. The second is that you build up a little Days of Future's past fantasy world in your head that just by thinking about it, you derive enough pleasure to like keep going. So you just stay in there and you don't have to like do anything new with your life. The third one is that you're stupid and you haven't watched Cowboy Bebop. So stop. Think about it for a second. Think. Learn something from Spike and the gang's mistakes. Take a responsible approach to your emotional growth. Gosh, dude, it's so cold. Cowboy, beep, beep, boop, bop, beep, boop. There are these title cards at the end of many of the episodes, and they usually summarize the point. See you later, Space Cowboy. Easy come, easy go. Do you have a comrade? Sleeping beast. Life is but a dream. See you, Space Samurai. Are you living in the real world? See you, Space Cowgirl. Someday, somewhere. Space chimps and space simps. That's not one of them. It's like when you're sitting in a bar, like listening to jazz. Like you do, because you're a cool guy. The music is so good that you can literally taste and feel the pain and love and hate of these guys emanating from their instruments and from their mind, from their sweat glands into your mouth. And then the song ends and there's a silence and you're alone with your thoughts and your martini and your cigarette, and one of the lead musicians, just to throw some more liquid salt into your eyeballs, leans into the mic and he says, "You're gonna carry that weight." Jeez, man, now I gotta think about that for the rest of the week, for the rest of my life. Life is like Bebop. If you don't accept that, yeah, maybe one song is over, if you don't stop bludgeoning yourself over the head with the saxophone and just play it, then you'll never be able to hear the jazz still all around you. That message, combined with a masterful execution of this show, showed me why mental health and anime aren't cringe. That I should explore that a little bit. I should do some experimentation with nicotine. I think that's it. See you, space cow person.